when I was in second grade in elementary school, I always had the worst handwriting. It looked like chicken scratch. It was just terrible. My teachers always got on me about it. Uh, Penmanship was not my strong point. I was fine with the grammar aspect, but the actual transferring to the paper was just not good. And they would always get on me about it and how bad at it I was and how I needed to improve. And I never believed it. Well, one day my teacher told me a story about a doctor who was treating a patient, and he filled out the prescription for the patient and gave the patient the prescription to go get filled. And when he went to the pharmacy, uh, the pharmaceutical, the pharmacist, excuse me, couldn't understand what was on the prescription because doctors are famous for their doctor's handwriting and signature. It's like 2 lines and it means like 2 sentences. So the pharmacist couldn't understand the prescription, but he thought he knew what it said, so he gave it his best guess. Well, it turns out his guess was wrong, and the prescription was actually deadly to the patient, and he had an allergic reaction and died. And it was, I heard that story and I laughed at first, but the more I thought about it, I realized that's a perfect example of the importance of proper communication, because communication doesn't have to be just spoken, it can be written down. And in this case, it caused someone to lose his life because the doctor didn't properly write down the prescription and communicate it to the pharmacist. Also, some other examples of ways that proper communication might be important. You've got, in the Army, if 2 units are working together and they decide to raid a village with air support and they radio in and the plane shoots the wrong building, there's a problem. People can get hurt. Or police, if they don't properly interrogate a suspect and the wrong person is blamed, someone could potentially end up in jail for the rest of their life for something they didn't commit. So now that we've established the importance of communication internally within the group itself, making the gears run smoothly and efficiently, I was searching for more material to back this subject up, and I ran across a website called IPR.org, which stands for Internal Public Relations organization. And I came across this as I was searching for more information on internal communication within a work environment. The site is very helpful. It addresses ethics, history, philanthropy, relations, between the company and outside of the company, with your customers, and more. There's a huge list of subject matter on the website itself. But one of the areas that it specifically covered was internal communication. And I quote the website. It says, internal communication provides employees with important information about their jobs, organization, environment, and each other. Excuse me. The website also says that communication is the basis for individuals and groups to make sense of their organization, what it is, and what it means. I love these definitions. They further stress that workplace communication is essential for proper cooperation, efficiency, and most importantly, empowerment. And as you know, empowerment is the way that authority grants freedom and certain levels of responsibility to their employees. So, for example, without proper communication, a new employee who's 3 weeks into their new job, who hasn't talked to their boss very much, or their boss hasn't kindly communicated with them, they might see an opportunity to further improve the job they're working on in a way that hasn't been thought about. But if they don't feel like they can, if they don't feel comfortable enough to bring that to their employer or their supervisor, then potentially, the project might not be as good as it could be, all because of a lack of empowerment due to improper communication that isn't open between individuals. Now, IPR.org also discusses what type of medium to use for communication. And I really like this. They emphasize that face-to-face communication is a rich form of communication, whereas things like, left laying around the office like posters, announcements, sticky notes are lean. And then you have email and phone calls falling in somewhere in the middle ground. In conclusion, IPR has some extremely helpful and insightful information on the finer elements of communication. It serves as a reminder to never forget the importance of proper communication among employees, employers, and customers.